When I finished studying here in the United States, I went back to Jordan in late 1993, and I was appointed as the crime reporter for the Jordan Times. And I started covering crime. And then I came across a very sad story of a 16-year-old schoolgirl who was killed by one of her brothers. And this wasn't a normal murder because this girl was a victim maybe 6 or 7 times. The reason is because first she was raped by her brother, one of her brothers. Then he tried to kill her because she told her family about the incident, and she had to tell her family because she became pregnant. So she underwent a secret abortion, and then they married her off to a man maybe 40 or 50 years older than her. And then 6 months later, this man divorced her. And the night he divorced her, they killed her, and they blamed her for the rape. So this story was really shocking to me. So I reported the story for the Jordan Times, and the following day an intellectual Jordanian woman who worked in a high position called the paper, and she was screaming and yelling at my editors that they should stop me from reporting these crimes because these things do not happen in Jordan and it's not us and all of that. So I became even more enraged because of the call, and I wanted to tell everyone that no, this is us, this is our society, and we have women who are being killed. Nobody's documenting their deaths. It's very rare that it made it to the Arabic press, and if it did, it was like a small item. When I studied here in the US, I learned a lot of things. I learned that an individual can make a difference. I learned that we can all make a difference in our society, and this is what I did. To me, I was just a journalist reporting cases, and I was consistent. I was documenting every case. I never gave up until this day. My work is still the same. I've never changed. Everything was like this until 1997 when Mrs. Farah Dagestani, she's Princess Basma's daughter, nominated me for the Reebok Human Rights Award. And I think this award was the turning point in my life because when I came to the US to receive it, I realized that what I was doing was human rights. It wasn't only just reporting a case. So I felt the responsibility was more on my shoulders, and when I went back, of course, the magnitude of the award, the media coverage, there was a lot of pressure on Jordanian government to change laws, to try to protect women much better. First of all, I'm a very stubborn person, and I'm a strong believer. I believe in fate. I mean, if it's my time, it's my time. So I'm not going to have anyone try to threaten, to scare me. I truly believe in what I'm doing, and I'm not going to let any silly person stop me. It's sad. Sometimes I get disappointed because I feel that what I'm doing is not violating anything. It's not violating any religion. It's not violating any human rights conventions or whatever. But I just go on. I mean, you listen to these people and you just brush them aside. If a person killed a person in a fit of fury or a moment of rage, then that person's punishment is reduced. If it's a premeditated, it becomes a misdemeanor. So if a killer gets, let's say, 10 years or even the death penalty, the judge is flexible and can give the defendant a sentence from 3 months to 2 years. And so this was something else that really pushed me to do what I'm doing, because I felt that not only the society was applauding these murders, but then you found the justice system was also supporting these crimes by offering lenient sentences. And then the third thing I discovered was that women who survive these murders, or ones who become pregnant out of wedlock, or the families kill them but they survive, or ones who go missing for a while and then they were found by the police, they put them in prison for their own safety and for indefinite periods. And I've met women who've been there for over 10 or 15 years. They're just there behind bars because the state wants to protect them from their families. And this is something that I think it's a major human rights breach, because in any country in the world, if someone threatens someone else's life, they go to prison and not the other way around. So what I did, I decided to report every case, every murder. Even if I miss it, I will report it. Even if it's after 1 week or after 1 month, I would report. I said I'm going to document all these cases and give these women who were deprived the right to live, a right, to be dead, because they are being killed and nobody even cares that they were on this earth. Our problem is that there's no consistency in the work all over the world, actually. The women's NGOs, they're not consistent. 1 minute they decide to focus on FGM. Then the next minute, let's talk about armed crimes. Then, let's talk about violence against women. Let's do this. So there's no consistency. I think that they need to be consistent. And even if they adopt a cause, they should continue with it. Although it's the newspaper is in English and the audience is a bit different than the Arabic press, but I said I had no other choice. I had to document the cases because nobody else was writing about it, even if it's in English. And I said maybe in the future other journalists in the Arabic press, colleagues, will be encouraged to write about the issue. And then letters started coming, from readers wanting the government to do something about it, change the laws, all of that. But when I won the Reebok Human Rights Award, when the news was spread in Jordan, I had some people approaching me and asking me, to do something on the grassroots level and to do something as a group. And we did. We called ourselves the Jordanian National Committee to Eliminate So-Called Honor Crimes. We worked for like 3 years. We were collecting signatures, distributing pamphlets, going around, lecturing, talking to people, in the streets, trying to tell them what's going on. And we managed to collect 15,000 signatures, and we presented it to the parliament, but it wasn't enough to change one of the laws that I mentioned. But of course, I think the most important thing that came out of all of that, I'm talking until maybe the early 2000s, was the publicity we garnered from our work. After we collected the first signatures and we went to the parliament and they rejected our petition and our request, we went back to the streets. We went to a popular area, and we were surprised that 80% of the people knew what we were talking about, and they signed our petitions. We organized a public march with the help of some influential people in Jordan, and around 5,000 people came to that march. And this was also something else. It was like a first, probably in Jordan, to have a march for women, with this large number of people joining. There was so much excitement going on that people just, whenever they heard, there were so many people, you don't believe how many people wanted to do something, but they didn't know what it was. Like when we were collecting signatures, they would call us, people we do not know, give me a sheet. They would go, fill it up and bring it back. You know how hard it is to keep up with the sheets, but people were so eager. I think in that regard, because it was two princes, it was Prince Ali and Prince Ghazi who was in charge of the tribes. So what he did is that he sort of mobilized many tribal leaders and they showed up. Almost everybody joined. Like we had religious figures talking for the first time against these crimes. There was a religious, the Mufti of the kingdom. He published a paper in the newspaper about so-called honor crimes and how it's not correct in Islam and all of that. And also Christian leaders were talking. and
in
Jordan. So of course, there were people who were against us. The deputies, the Islamic Action Front was against us. Their argument was that we are tarnishing the morals, we are destroying the morals of Jordan, and because we wanted to cancel these laws, it means sexually liberating women, and women are perceived in a certain role, and and of course they blamed all the adultery on women as if there is no men, So it was really unfortunate. Even the Islamic Action Front issued a fatwa saying that Article 340 in the Jordan Penal should remain, although there's no religious background to what they said.
Justification.
Yeah, there's no religious justification, and they were saying like this is the last castle that's going to save the honor of the nation and the honor of our women. It was really bad. There's one person who I think. I was surprised, but I was happy that he got involved. Was His Royal Highness Prince Ali. He's the king's half brother. All of a sudden, one day he just writes an entry that he's sick of all these negative people who are trying to undermine courageous acts, just like what Rana Hussein is doing. And he really stood next to me, and then he said, therefore we are holding a public march, and this is when we held the public march. So and he was involved, and he was part of the public march. I believe that the medal is a message from the king that he really wants to see an end to this problem. When it's given to me, it's okay, it's given to me, but it has a double meaning, that he really wants to see an end to this problem, that he really cares about trying to improve women's status in Jordan.